Hi, teammates all around the world. My name is Sean J. McCall, and welcome back to the first Let's Talk of 2025. I'm glad you're here wherever you are in the world, and whether you stay for the whole live or just for a couple minutes, that's fine by me. But I'm not even gonna mess around. I'm gonna get my guest in. He's waiting, so let me get him in, and then we're gonna really start this. There he is. Looking clean like always. Thank you, Big Fin. I appreciate that. I just got a haircut. So, where we go? You got to turn the camera around.
Oh, we good. We good.
We good. We good. Hold on. Let me fix mine. Okay. So, there you go. You looking great, man.
I appreciate it. You doing well yourself. See you. I
KC,
see you.
man. I am so glad to have you on, man. I'm really looking forward to this since we booked it, and I'm really looking forward to chopping it up with you. Just do me one quick favor. Introduce yourself really quick, and then we're going to jump right into it.
Casey Rivers, former European EuroLeague champion, sitting at home in Alpharetta, Georgia. Glad to be on Sean McCall's podcast today. Hope everybody's doing well.
Okay, I'm sure we got a lot of fans that are out there. To those of you that are out there watching, if you feel like asking a question, please do in the comment section. I'll probably see it pop up, and either it's something that I've already planned to ask, or I'll try to get in there somewhere throughout the broadcast. So we're going to jump right in, and I'm going way back on you for the first question. We're
Okay.
going back to the Oak Hill days of high school, okay? Do you still hold the record for number of threes made in a single game at 15? Do you still hold that record?
That record still is intact. It hasn't been broken. I don't think anybody has come close to breaking it. So it's probably going to be there for quite some time.
How Think back to that game. Like, how does it feel to make 15 threes in a game? How were you feeling?
I mean, I was feeling great that day. It was, just thinking back to it, I feel like we had, I want to say 2, 3 games that week. And the prior game before, Ray John Rondo had broke the school record in assists. He had like 33 assists.
Wow.
And then this night, this team we played, particularly, we was a bigger team, more athletic. They decided to sit in the zone to start the game to try to take away our athleticism. And from the left elbow, I probably made like 8 threes from the left elbow just by standing there. Like Rondo would break down the defense, and he's like, "Yo, just stand right here. I'm gonna find you." And so pretty much those first eight threes went in. Then I hit like another two. And at first, we didn't know what the national record was. I think the national record was like 16, 17. I'm
Right.
not sure exactly. But second half, I'm like, okay, where am I at? I know the record is at 12. So I'm like, okay, I can probably get 12. Then after I got 12, I just kept going. And then I got subbed out like in the end of the third. I only think I played the fourth.
Wow.
But I think had we known the record, I think my coach probably would have left me in there and let me try to get it.
Okay. All right. Um, so you went on after Oak Hill, went on to Clemson University. You had 4 good years there in the ACC, one of the top conferences in the country for college basketball, D1. What do you remember the most about your Clemson time? What's a memory that kind of sticks out during that year,
Um,
those 4 years you were at Clemson?
I think the biggest thing is just the turnaround that happened at Clemson. I think when I came in, Clemson wasn't as good in basketball. They pretty much middle to low team in the ACC. My freshman year was kind of like the turning point for us. Sophomore year, definitely we had opportunities. I still go back to where we got screwed in the ACC tournament my sophomore year. A little phantom call kind of ruined our chances because we were on the bubble that year, so that ruined our chances of going to the dance.
Yeah.
But we ended up going to the NIT finals that year. So that was fine. My junior and senior year were amazing. Had a group of amazing guys, young mixed with old, and we had 2 good NCAA tournaments. Well, made it to a tournament. I'd say we exited out the first round, but just getting there after it's been some years before. has been was a pretty good thing for us. I think it was a bit of an accomplishment. I mean, it's even bigger accomplishment now looking back and seeing what they're doing. Uh, Now, last year they were making it to the Elite Eight, so
Right.
that there was something special to see, just to continue to see the success and the progress that they're doing so far.
Yeah, that's dope. It's always good to be a part of a program and you really are the catalyst to building that up. And then you see it years later, like with my old school, Southern Utah, like we were the ones, my 2 years there that really brought the program forward. And now they're doing great. I mean, it's a mid-major, but they're doing good for what they have, so that's always a nice thing to see as an old head, to
Right.
see that your alma mater is doing well after you left. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. So when you were finished at Clemson, before you came over to Europe, did you have those big NBA dreams? Were you really kind of focused on trying to make it to the league when you left, or was it automatic thought, okay, I'm going to go to Europe?
Um, I mean, like any American kid that comes out, you have aspirations of playing in the NBA. That's how you grow up.
Yeah.
The NBA is the ultimate dream for any serious basketball player. That's the ultimate goal. And I didn't get drafted. I was supposed to go to summer league with Dallas. That didn't happen. So my uncle, who had a great career overseas, played at Panathinaikos as well,
Mhm.
and had great stints in Greece. Pretty much my
Wait. Shout out your uncle. You can't just say your uncle and not shout out
my
his name.
my uncle Byron Dinkins. He played in Greece for some years. So he pretty much he actually played in Germany too. Where was he at? Hagen. He played in
Okay.
Hagen. I think his first year out he was in Hagen. But my narrative kind of changed because I knew about overseas basketball.
Mhm.
When he used to come home, we used to watch tapes. The craziest thing is he used to tell me about Diamantidis before I knew who Diamantidis was. So I used to watch tapes on this Greek left-handed kid that
Right.
was doing his thing, and my uncle kept talking about, oh, he's going to be something special. He's going to be something special. And then when I get to Europe, it's like, oh, Diamantidis. I heard of this guy. I've seen this guy before. So um, the idea of Europe definitely came from his perspective that it's not a bad route to go.
Mhm.
I definitely wasn't thinking summer league. I think at that point, I just wanted to go somewhere and actually play
Mhm.
and make money. And hence, my first start was in Latina, Italy.
Second division, right?
Yeah, second division, small city outside of about 45 minutes outside of Rome. Did such a huge adjustment, much, much of an eye opener. I think I struggled probably the first month or so because I couldn't drive stick shift. I couldn't
Right.
drive. So I was struggling learning with that. Uh, I just honestly, I didn't want to be there. Like, I think that's what really drove my career in the beginning there was that I probably spent the first month with a bunch of internal hatred for not wanting to be there. So I was playing with this anger. And after about 8, 9 games of playing angry, I get bought out by Benetton Treviso.
Mhm.
So going to Benetton, that really, gave me an eye opener of a different perspective of clubs in Italy
Right.
and Europe that had some sort of European success and how they ran things.
Right.
And then it took off from there.
Okay, so let's go back. So when you left Clemson, did you have agents that were actively recruiting you, or how did the agent thing come to play? And was your agent the one that got you to Italy?
Yeah, so crazy enough, going into my junior year of college, I was getting approached by agents.
Mhm.
Um, I had a remarkable sophomore year, according to a lot of people in the sport in the basketball sector in college basketball that felt like maybe I should have tested the waters and came out during that year, possibly would have got drafted. But I didn't. And so my junior year, towards the end of my junior year, I started getting approached by agents
Mhm.
and trying to get me to consider leaving my junior year. And luckily I didn't. I mean, maybe could have, maybe, we just don't know.
You
The
never
draft
know.
is what the draft is. But my senior year, yeah, I got approached by about 3, 4 different agents. They used to come to the school. We sit down, have a meeting. They expressed who they were and what they were about, and then I made my decision there. So I signed with it was Wasserman. I signed with Wasserman right after I graduated and was out in California training. So it was Wasserman that had the connections that got me to Italy to second division, which, at that time, I think there was like a financial crisis or something that hit Europe where I think teams were paying less.
Mhm.
And so with the less money, the contracts wasn't as gifted as they started out to be for a first year. So it was different, but at the same time, it's like you're making money.
Right.
And that's the bigger picture is like, okay, you got to start somewhere and you build your brand, yourself off of wherever you start. I think a lot of guys get flustered when they get to the first place and it's not exactly what they expected or what they wanted it to be.
Mhm.
So they get discouraged, and then it's the idea of I don't want to be in Europe, or I'm gonna try the G League, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. When it's just like stick it out, give it a chance. You never know how things can go. You don't know who's watching. I think
Yeah.
my first coach was his name was Luca. Luca used to tell me, he's like, you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't tell you how to play basketball, but I can tell you you have eyes watching you. So it's best to always remain professional and perform.
Yeah. 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 That's so true because it's 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 crazy. Like you got picked up by then a top team. You went to the second league, then you got picked up really by a top team because you played well, right? So that's
Right.
also a case of you never know who's watching, and of course you need good stats, you need all of that. You need to be a good person, but yes, it's a tough business, man. And like when I talk about the agent stuff, is because I deal with a lot of in my consulting with players. I deal with a lot of players who don't have agents when they come out of school. I was
Mhm.
fortunate enough to have that. You were fortunate enough to have that, but there are a lot of players that don't. And so I try to advise them on that. What is one thing that you wish you could go back and tell yourself during the whole agent process? Like how you picked them, everything. What's one thing that maybe you wish you could tell yourself about that time?
I think the biggest thing that I see now is transparency.
Mhm.
Transparency and communication when it's a player agent relationship is you always want your agent to be upfront and honest with you. At this given point in my career at this time, like I played 16 years. I
Mhm.
had aspirations of wanting to play a couple more years because I wanted to end playing basketball on my terms, not because somebody looks at my age and say, "Hey, he's 37, about to be 38. He can't go anymore." But it's like I keep myself in shape. My body's in shape. But the thing I tell my agent is, whether good, bad, or indifferent, always be upfront with me. I know the game now,
Mhm.
and if you just tell me what it is, I can accept it for what it is. Not,
Yeah.
you don't. Because some agents they don't call you. Some if they don't have any news, they don't contact you. They
That's
don't.
that's the thing. Yeah.
Right. They don't keep in touch. They don't contact. The biggest thing is like in order to have great business relationships, have great relationships with people, is that tough conversation where you have to tell a player, "Hey, listen, nothing's coming through right now, or they're not liking this, or they're not really feeling this, or we're trying to work this out." It's the level of communication. And that goes a long way where a player gets that trust where he knows, like, okay, if I call my agent, he's going to give me the real. You
Right.
don't want to, players don't want to sit and always are guessing as to if the agent's working, if he's really putting me in position, if he's trying to get jobs. I think that's the biggest thing for guys that's first coming out is understanding
The
the
market.
dynamic, the market, the dynamic of a player agent relationship. Because at the end of the day, you're the employer and the agent is the employee. And we lose sight of that because they're working on behalf of us, but it's like you're the one that employed them to work on your behalf. So you have to not be a dictator, not be a boss in that regard, but understand the barrier where it's like you have the right to say, "Hey, man, what are we
Right.
doing? What's
Right.
going on? I need to hear from you. Like, let's stay in touch." Whether
Okay.
it's
Wait.
even just saying, "Hey, just checking on you."
Wait. Let's look. Okay. Because I got some agent friends, and I think I saw one of them pop in here too. So I like to look at it from both sides. So when I advise my clients, um, it's you're right about what you say, but there's also a level of if I'm an agent, it's hard for me to contact someone and say, hey, buddy, I don't have a job right now, but I'm still looking, right? That should be a normal thing, I think. But
Yes.
of course, from the player's perspective, if your agent can't find you anything, and these days it's so easy to change your agent because of the new FIBA rules. Um, if I'm an agent, I'm like, man, if I keep calling this dude and telling him I ain't got nothing for him, he's gonna really think I'm not doing my job.
Right.
So they would rather be quiet than to have that difficult conversation. It's hard, man, because then if the client might, I mean, the player might then say, damn, can you close a deal for me? Like, what's up? Like,
And that's tough.
it's
I
tough.
see both. I see both sides of it, but in this sports field, we know how that goes. You're going to get a lot of no's before you get
Yes,
somebody that's going to take a chance.
yes,
And if you build that relationship, because this is where the relationship is being built, where you're constantly communicating and saying, like, I'm beside you, like, I'm going to work for you. We're going to figure this thing out. I say probably 40% of agents don't really do that, mainly because they have a lot of clientele. They have a lot of guys they got to work with. It's hard to stop and take time to call each and every one of them and say, hey, this is what's going on, or I got this going on. And that's understood. It's still just you want to always build that rapport early. You don't want to do it early on in a relationship. Now you have the player thinking like, okay, this dude don't talk to me. He don't say nothing. Early on, you're establishing that relationship where they see, okay, he's working. Let me let him work. But if you don't establish that, and then it comes to the point where you're not hearing that, then it becomes like, all right, maybe I need to change agents because this guy doesn't communicate.
yeah, but how do you establish the communication? I always tell players, you don't know if you have a good agent until you know.
Yeah.
Either you get fired, you get hurt, your money's late, stuff like that. Then you know how your agent is going to work for you.
And,
Before finding you a job, that's what they do every day. That's
right,
their
right, of
main thing because they want
course.
to get paid. But if you're in a little bit of trouble, then you know how good or bad your agent is. But here's the thing, and you touched on it earlier, and it was the same with me. You met your agents before in
Yeah,
person.
that part.
How many times these days are players meeting their agents or prospective agents in person? I had four agents. I had my college coach whittle it down to four, no, three from seven. He was like, nope, nope, nope. And then he left me with three. Those guys flew in. I talked to them. I had dinner with each of them. They flew in multiple times. And then I chose one. I chose a great one. But how many times are you getting that face to face with somebody these days? And how do you develop trust if nothing has yet happened?
Yeah, that's real touchy with just how, things are. I mean, also too though, the cop out of it is like you're saying, it's like you don't meet face to face, but we have so much technology
Yes, yes,
nowadays. A simple Zoom call, a simple
yes.
FaceTime, these things are, it's simple to do, even if it's just 5 minutes to touch base and introduce yourself, kind of explain what you're doing.
Mhm.
Now it's just, everything is word of mouth or you get representation, you pass it on to somebody else. And that's how relationships are established. For me, my agent, I had an agent, his name was David Carl Funes out of Spain. I can say probably one of the best agents I had. Like,
How
I
many
have
agents
it.
have you had in your career?
I've had
I had
three.
I had four in 13 years.
Okay, so I had three. David was my longest tenure. I had David for 10 years. And with Dave, I can honestly say if something was going on, if I made a phone call or something was lagging and I called him, like he's on it. Or if he's not on it, or if he's not available to come, whoever is the agent that was he partnered with in the city, he had them on it right away. So I always respected that. And I respected how he treated my family, everything. Like regardless of being with Octagon, how many clients they had, if there was an issue, Dave was on it. Like I could count on saying, hey, my man, I got this going on, this is happening. And he's like, all right, give me some time. I'm on it. And next thing you know, I get a phone call. He's like, hey, listen, I'm flying in this day. Let's meet up, let's grab dinner, let's figure this thing out, and we go from there. So I I definitely understand that part of it.
Um, okay, let's get off the agent stuff because we could talk about that all night. I want to focus on you. What do you think? You said you played 16 years so far. Maybe you play another year. Let's see. What do you think contributed the most to the longevity of your career overseas? Because it takes a special person to play as long as you have played, long as I played, still living, here. What do you think contributed to the length of your career the most?
Just really being a professional, taking care of my body, really, you only get such a short window at home. We know, if you play long till June, you're going from end of August till middle to end of June, and then you probably get maybe a month and a half at home, and then it's right back again. So, taking the needed time to rest, get your body back into good condition, whether you have some injuries, letting the injuries heal up, and then really just sticking to your routine of training and preparing your body, because 10 months is a long season.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people can fathom 10 months
Hey,
of
but the thing with
practice
10
stuff.
months, the thing with 10 months is you're not, I mean, you were fortunate to play EuroLeague, so you're playing during the week, but for I would say 85% of hoopers, you got one game a week.
Right.
So that means you got
That,
a hell of a lot of practices. And
and
that's
I
the
experienced
wear
that
and
my
tear.
first I experienced that my first 2-3 years out, where it was just like, yo, like, why are we practicing so much? We can't get a day off. Like, and then I used to question when I was on the smaller team. Like we played a bigger team. When I was in Italy, we had Siena. I don't know if a lot of people remember Siena back in the day.
Back in
Siena
the day, they
was
were beasts.
they were beasts. So I used to always wonder, it's like, we got all this time. They got a EuroLeague game on Friday. We're practicing. It's like, why are we just practicing all this stuff and trying to figure out a way to counteract something so we have a chance? It's like we do all the drills and stuff, and then Wednesday, Thursday, it's like, okay, they want to talk and do all the tough practices. It's like, no, we played a big team on Sunday. It's like, let's do the tough stuff in the beginning of the week, and then kind of wane down by Sunday. Everybody's in good condition. We rested and ready to go. I never understood it, but it's the practices. You're going 2 times a day, 2 hours,
Yeah,
maybe 2.5,
yeah,
depending on what type of coach you have.
yeah.
You get your Eastern European coach from Serbia or somewhere. You definitely going longer than 2 hours.
Shout out to
You
the
know that
Dolphins.
the talk the Italian coaches were probably more relaxed. You're gonna practice an hour and a half. You're gonna get after it, and you're done. But them Eastern Europeans, man,
Yeah.
they have like that. I've had some tough coaches, man, where it's like, whew, basketball. We're gonna eat, sleep, live basketball. That's all it is.
Hey, they're gonna make sure you working for every dollar you earn
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think, who did I have in Munich? Pesic. I
Yeah,
played for
Pez, yeah,
I
yeah,
had
yeah,
Pesic
yeah.
in Munich, and he was tough in the sense of how we practiced, but our film sessions were long. We would be in film for, like, I think one time it's Paul Zipser. Paul has his phone in his jacket, and he puts the timer on. I think we sat in the film session for about 2.5 hours talking about nothing. We barely got to the film. Like, I never forget. I was like, yo, 2.5 hours is long to sit in a film session. But I give Pestis credit. He was a great motivator. He understood the game, the old school mentality. I loved it.
Hmm.
But the
Yeah.
film session was what was like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
So now that we touched on Bayern, so let me just read the list of teams you've played for: Treviso, Bologna, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Panathinaikos, Red Star, Real Betis, Zagreus. So I said in the promo that most players would be fortunate to play for one of those teams. And you got some Russian teams. I'm not going to mention them, but you got some other teams in there as well. Um, so I said that most players would be fortunate to play on one of those teams.
Mm.
And you've played for multiple teams, and you've played like for Bayern, you played there twice. For Real Madrid, you played there twice. Like that's a crazy resume. If you look back on your career now, even though you're not too old, but if you look back on your career now, what do you appreciate the most about playing for all these high level European teams?
I appreciated the top tier organizational front,
Mm-hmm.
just how the day to day was ran. I wouldn't lie and say everything was like perfect, but for the most part, it was very inviting to be there. You can feel the levels of organizations
Mm-hmm.
and how they're ran. Like playing for Real Madrid, I would tell anybody if a player ever gets the opportunity to, if you've
You
never
got to go.
going to play if you're never going to play in the NBA, it's the closest thing you'll
Mm-hmm.
get to being in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
From all the medical stuff to how they treat
Organization.
the organization to travel to just the whole nine. And living in Madrid is amazing in itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I see now Panathinaikos is hitting that pinnacle as well with how they're doing amazing things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to see how they revamped Owaka. Owaka looks amazing
Mm-hmm.
now, and I'm sure they've added more things to the locker room and everything for the players to be better. So it's like these organizations, they I'm not going to say learned from the NBA or learn, but they've picked up things. It's like, okay, how can
Develop.
we help our organization develop, and how can we run this better? So definitely, I mean, Zalgiris was, if anybody's been to Kaunas, Zalgiris Arena is like the biggest
Yes.
thing in Kaunas. You know, it's a beautiful small city, but what stands out is Zalgiris Arena. So
Yeah.
uh, another top-notch organization with being ran to its fullest, and I mean many more other smaller organizations. They do their thing and they're trying their best, but the ultimate goal is like everybody had that mindset of wanting to be like a Real Madrid of how things are ran. You know, you can't top a Forbes
Yeah.
organization with how they're ran from top to bottom. You know, no matter how much you either like or hate Real Madrid, it's like they are efficient in what they do,
The gold standard.
all the way to gold standard.
Um, how was it for your family to move around with you so much during those days? You got
You
two
know, honestly,
children, right?
yeah, it I was married for 8 years, and it was pretty good. You know, living in Madrid, everything was taken care of. When I first signed in Madrid, I think I flew out. Um, I flew out in July. I flew out in July, did my medical testing, and after I did my medical testing, signed the documents and everything, we went around. We found housing. I already got my team car. We, got baby stuff. At the time, I had my daughter was just born, so we got baby stuff, put it in the house, set up everything, and then we returned I returned home after that for after about probably another 3 weeks, and then I had to return back at the end of August, and my family came with me. So my wife and my daughter at that time came with me, and so the adjustment period was easy. Everything that she might have needed, wanted, was already there, taken care of. They were efficient in helping the families. The biggest thing is when the clubs are able to help the families transition, whether it's for
Mhm.
schooling or finding babysitters or putting in things that can help you be at ease while you're being there. So I think that's the biggest thing that goes for the family is they're feeling as a part of the organization as well in some sort of light.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, so also on that topic of teams developing, you had two stints at Bayern Munich basketball,
Yeah.
um, but they were 6 years apart. What did you notice from the first time you came to Bayern to the second time you came to Bayern? What had maybe gotten better? How did they develop?
The first time I came was just, that was the peak of them being in EuroLeague. I think this was when EuroLeague was still in group play.
Right.
It wasn't like how the
It
format
wasn't
is
like it.
now. So um, they were progressing. They were a big club in Germany. They were one of the bigger clubs in Germany.
Mhm.
And the idea in the beginning, I used to talk to Marco Petic, and he used to ask me like, "How are things ran in Madrid? How do they do things in Madrid?" What is in Madrid? What's special about Madrid? What do they do? And of course, on a basketball standpoint, you want to ask those questions because you're under a soccer club, you're under a soccer
Yeah.
affiliate, and
And
you're trying to figure out how is it connected? How's all the resources and everything connected? And then the second time I went back, it was like, okay, Bayern is they've really improved in the 6 years. They really have put together more of a team to kind of filter out these things, do different things to branch out the club even more social media wise and everything. Sponsorships, the travel, they were doing it. And it was nice to see. I was proud for Marco. I appreciate who Marco is as a guy, so I was proud of everything that he was doing. Just as somebody that has grown to kind of have a small friendship with him, it's like, as a friend, it's like it's nice to see that. It's nice to see what he's doing and how he's taking the initiative to keep building the brand. On top of now, they have Sap Garden, which looks amazing. So they're only going higher and higher.
So you talked about it a little bit before about you possibly looking for a job so you can go out on your own terms. So you, of course, are of. I'm not going to call you old because I'm old.
I'm wise. I'm wise.
Yeah, there you go. You are of advanced age, I like to call it, for a basketball player at least. If it was up to you, how long do you think you would like to keep playing?
I told myself if it was up to me, I could go another 2-3 years just off of how I treat my body. And, it's also a mental thing. It's physical, but it's also mental. Once you get to the mindset of I can't wake up, I can't do this anymore, then that's when it comes to, all right, it's time to stop.
Right.
But for me, I wake up every day, I train. I love to train. I love to be in the gym, shooting and doing different things, trying to keep myself active. So it's more so I have the mindset where it's like I don't want to be saying I'm done because I couldn't get a job and because of my age, as opposed to saying that I was done because, okay, I played 2 more years and I realized, okay, I'm through. I'm fulfilled in what I did. So it's one of those things where it's like I want to leave on my terms and not on the terms because of requirements or the requisites that teams have nowadays, because it is what it is. But at the same time, I respect whatever happens. I've given this game, in my opinion, everything I've had. I've played in amazing places. I've given excitement when I needed to. So I can bow out gracefully if I need to, but I always hang hopes on just having that one more chance of being able to do what I do.
Good. Yeah. So for those of you that are watching, I said it before in the beginning, if you have a question, you can throw it in the comment section. Now is the time when I'm going to ask a couple of things. I got one here. I got to check it from Joe Jeezy. I don't know if he's still around, but he asked if you could tell one thing to an unmotivated hooper who feels unappreciated, what would you say to pick them back up? That's an interesting question.
That's very interesting. I can say for unmotivated hooper is, stay the course. Do what you do best. The thing about being motivated is you have to be your own cheerleader sometimes. You have to be your own cheerleader and your own critic.
Yeah.
Find what you do best and make it work for you. And then everybody around you will start to see what you're doing. Like if you focus on, all right, I'm going out here with the mindset of I'm a shooter. I'm going to knock down every shot. I'm going to try to be on defense, locking up anybody I can. I'm going to become a fan favorite. I'm going to become somebody that when it comes down to the point of getting jobs and getting playing time, the pressure comes from the fans as to wondering why you're not playing.
Yeah.
So it's the motivation of, listen, stay focused. Don't quit. It gets tough. I've been there. I've been there. I've had questions like that, but just you have to always remind yourself your time is coming. And I think I had that situation in Madrid when I first got there because, you're coming from places where you're scoring a lot of points, you're getting a lot of shots, you're playing a lot of minutes to a place where your minutes fluctuate. It fluctuates heavy. You know, sometimes in Madrid, I might play the first half, don't play the second half, or vice versa. So it'd be times I'd be at home and I would talk to my wife at the time, and I'm just like, it's different. And I was giving constant reminder from her, like, you know, just stay the course. Like, at the end of the day, you can only do what you can do,
What you can control.
but your time is coming. Your time is going to come if you just stay in the right port, in the right mindset, in the right path. Your time is coming. Hence, if you remember that year, the EuroLeague playoffs had amazing playoffs, had amazing Final Four. So it goes to show your time comes when it's supposed to come, but you got to stay within the flow, stay motivated, knowing that you're going to be able to do what you want to do in given time.
I got one from was it Pericles Manikas. Sorry, I totally messed up your name. Put your 2 favorite teams you ever played for, honestly. 2 favorites. He's throwing you under the bus right now. He's throwing you under the bus right now.
That's hard to say. I mean, of course, I'm going to say Real Madrid is one of them. I mean, we won everything. You know, that was one year we just dominated everything. And then I would say, as an asterisk with it, I would put my 2 years in Panathinaikos. We were a bunch of dogs. We were hungry in Pana. You know, granted, the results as far as EuroLeague didn't pan out the way we wanted to, but we were hungry. We had excitement. We had a lot of energy amongst us, and we're a group of guys that we had determination. We had some things that happened, you know, long bus rides after getting out of the EuroLeague playoffs, but yeah, we stuck together and we always fought to the end. Like we were some dogs, and that was a special 2 years there.
Okay, Lucas Lenoir asks, is ACB the best domestic league you've ever played in, or have you another opinion on it?
ACB definitely is one of the top domestic leagues that I played in. Realistically speaking, now the BBL, the German league, has started to kind of climb ranks a little bit. It's gotten tougher. The ABA league, the ABA league, is definitely a tough league, as well as Turkish league. Turkish league is always tough. So I think, you know, it would go ACB, probably ACB, Turkish, BBL, ABA league. I would say Greek league. Greek league has its challenges just because of the difference in levels of teams and what some teams can pay versus what others can pay.
Right.
But yet they do have some competitive spirit in there. So ACB still would be top.
Okay, I'm gonna get one more before I move on. Where was that? There was one more that I saw pop up. Where was it? How big is patience when looking for jobs and when it's time to play? That's from DHUD 2. How big of a role is patience?
When you hear the saying patience is a virtue, it is that is living proof that you have to be patient, that the right job will find you. Sometimes, you know, you'd be eager to take a job because you're so ready to play, and then that job just not be the one for you. So any advice to young players that's coming along is like, be patient, trust in your agency that they're going to put you in the right position, because the outside looking at it, you look at a contract, it looks great. You know, you're thinking like, all right, I'm ready to go. I want to take this one. But your agent is kind of hesitant. Understand why he's hesitant, or why, you know, he's telling you let's be patient with it, because on the inside, the underneath stuff, we don't know. You know, this team's had trouble with paying money. They, you know, have different issues. A lot of issues probably have arisen under this agent's watch that he's like, I don't know if I can put another client through that. So it's one of those things where you have to be patient. You have to understand that what's meant for you will come. The right team will find you. The right situation will start you off. But being patient is the best way to be.
Okay, I'm gonna go 2 more because my guy came on, so I'm gonna, and this is a good question.
Okay.
Toughest player to guard during your time?
Man, that's tough.
I mean, you played against some. That's tough.
You know, what's crazy is it's quite a few. You know, it's hard to say. You know, I would definitely throw Keith Langford was one.
He was tough.
Keith was very tough. Who was tough that you just had to like kind of disrupt them was Billy Spanoulis. Spanoulis is tough just because he's one of them people that he can go over most of the game, but then at a certain point he just gets going. So I think that was a tough one, especially in the EuroLeague finals, especially the last part of the game when it's like, okay, I'm responsible for trying to make sure he does not get off. Who else is it? When I played in Zalgiris, Mike James. Had Mike, me and Mike were teammates 2 years in Pana. You know, just he's very shifty. He's very crafty.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that you have to watch and kind of keep an eye on because he's quick and he's very decisive in everything that he does. So Mike definitely is one of them. And also Boki Bogdanovich, that was when he was in Finner.
Yeah.
And more so just a shooter. He wasn't just a shooter. Like he's come off screens, you know, in the Obradovic system that Finner had. Like he was amazing. So he was just one of those tough guys to guard and get through.
Okay. Wait, no, I do want to ask one more question. Hold on. Give me a quick answer. Is 29 too old to get back out there and make a good living and impact a club, especially if they don't have a good resume of your caliber? At what point is the risk versus reward weighed in?
Not at all. 29 is still that's a great age. That's prime. That's prime time. You know, it's just the main thing being 29 is not even about having resumes. It's just the idea of getting somewhere where you can play and showcase yourself and then build off of that.
You got to
like
have a
go
lot of
somewhere,
luck
have
too.
a lot of luck, go somewhere, have a good year, build off of it, and go from the 29. You can go 29 to 35.
Yeah.
You got a good 6 years to try to maximize and get to where you want to be, but don't give up at 29. Not at all.
And the risk versus reward, I think that's an individual thing. Everybody has to, because you know not everybody's going to make 100,000 in a season. You got guys playing for more than less than what they would make if they were at McDonald's back home, right? So it's that risk versus reward. How long can you risk? How long you still got bills to pay at home? Like that's something that I talk to my clients about as well. And it really is an individual thing that you have to figure out. Like, okay, I can do maybe this at this level for so long, and then maybe I got to get a job back home. You know,
it's nothing wrong with that.
No,
there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think the biggest thing that I will say is that athletes or basketball players we have an issue of doing is comparing ourselves to other players, you know, other situations. And like you say, it's sometimes luck is sometimes who you know. Everybody's situation is different, but to look at and say, "Oh, this guy, you know, I'm better than this guy. This, you know, he's here and I'm here." You know, that really kills your motivation right there. So it's like at the end of the day, stay within yourself, stay in your own parameters. You know, everybody's situation is completely different. Some people are fortunate more than others, but 29 is not a time to give up. Like, keep giving what you got, get somewhere, play, get seen, get your footage, and then go from there.
Okay. So normally at this junction, I would do the kiss, kill, marry, but I'm not going to throw you under the bus like that because people are going to be throwing you hate mail. So I'm not going to have you compare three teams. I'm gonna back up off you on that one. Your favorite kicks of all time, playing shoes, playing kicks.
Playing kicks. What's crazy is I used to wear Jordan 11 lows most of my time in Panathinaikos. I loved them. I loved every pair of Jordan 11 lows that I wore. They were comfortable in my opinion. So them would be my all-time favorite that I played in.
Hey, I just got a really good one too. I'm going to say this to the same guy from before. The biggest derby you ever played, Pana, Olympiacos, or was it another one?
See,
You're a Red Star. Come on, man.
that's what I'm saying. That puts me in a tough position because I mean, listen, Panathinaikos Olympiacos, that whole rivalry, in itself is crazy. I think more so it's crazy to me because of, with Red Star Partizan, we shared an arena.
Mhm.
So the
Right.
build up inside the build up is amazing. The atmosphere is crazy. Like I loved it. Like I take nothing away from it. It's definitely neck and neck. They're even in my opinion, but the build up to it is like, it hits different. You know,
Mhm.
Pan Olympiacos, when we travel to Seth, there's a police motorcade in front, there's a police motorcade in the back, there's one on both sides, there's a helicopter in the sky. You're getting escorted through the city going across this bridge. Once you get across this bridge, it's like you're on your own. That's how I feel because the buses they park and it's just you got this green bus going into a sea of red, and all you see is people walking to the arena, and they're ready already. You get to the arena, it's cracked glass, everything's tore up. You get off the bus, the police are right there ready to escort you in. The buildup of it is
Right.
crazy, but I live for that. I live for both of them, but I was in the Panathinaikos Olympiacos games more because I've spent 2 years in it.
Right.
So I could say like Partizan and Red Star, the 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 excitement of it, yeah, I love that just because how deep it is in there.
Right.
But with Olympiacos, I got a thrill out of silencing Seth.
Mhm.
Like I like when you can hear a pin drop and see the faces of people in a Seth arena like drop. That was all I needed. Like that's all I needed to do. I love that one.
Um, I got two more questions for you, real quick, before I let you get out of here. Okay, this is something that I've never experienced. With very few people have experienced. What is it like when the final buzzer sounds and you are EuroLeague champion?
Man, listen, it's that feeling when it's like we finally did it. And that year, I don't think if you remember the prior 2 years, they made it to the finals.
Right.
And
Right.
they
So
just
it was the third
couldn't
one.
they just
Yeah.
couldn't get over that hump. So throughout the season, just knowing that about them, and then kind of just that bus ride to the arena for that championship game, kind of feeling that energy still that okay, these guys have been through it twice. This is my first
Right.
rodeo,
Right.
and me, I'm like, that. How can I give an example? It's like that puppy. It's that one puppy where you got the older dog, but this puppy, he's just playing. He's all happy, like no care in the world. That was my mentality. I was like, all right, so it's another game. Like, just treat it like another game. And they're looking at it like, nah, it's not another game. Like, we've been here before. I'm like, yo, it's another game, man. Like, let's just treat it as another game. Don't put no implications on it. And I remember right before that, Pablo had played a video because we always watch video before we go out.
Right.
And Pablo played a video. He didn't say anything. It was probably one of the most like it was like that one shiny moment type
Mhm.
video where you're looking at everything we done been throughout the whole season, from the highs to the lows. And after that, he basically just said, let's go out and get what we need to get.
Mhm.
And it was a tough game. We knew it was going to be tough, but once you start seeing that clock ticking down, I think it was the longest 2 minutes ever. Because once we got up by like 13 or 14, you're just like, come on, like you like looking at the referees like, please don't call fouls, just let it run, let it run, like let's get it over with. So once you see it ticking down, it's like you get this chill, this sense of excitement building up, and everybody's ready to jump and just yell out and go crazy.
That's dope, man. I mean, I watch it on TV and I'm just like amazed.
Man,
I think it's
I still get chills when I rewatch it, and I'm like, yo, it's like being there all over again.
yeah. Um, so my guy, that's it. I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it
you.
so much, man, to get your view on a lot of things. I think you gave some valuable information. But before I let you get out of here, this is a part of the show when I always ask you to nominate somebody to come on the show, and I have to also ask you to help me get that person on the show. It can be anybody in anywhere in overseas basketball. It can be a fan, it can be a player. It doesn't, it can be anybody that you think will be a good fit for this show,
That's
and you
tough.
think might have an interesting story. And you got to help me get this person too.
I mean, the best person right now that's doing stuff, and I'm sure to help his top 25 candidacy of your league would be James Gist.
I'm
I
with
think
that.
Gist would be. I think Gist
I
would
am
be
so with that.
if anybody embodies Panathinaikos, there's nobody like him. Like as long as
I
tenure
feel
he's
that.
had for sure.
I feel that. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hit you up when we get off anyway, but you're gonna help me get that. That's a good one. I'm really glad that you said that, and I would definitely love to have him on. But yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I got to give a shout out to Tanya at Harmony
Oh
Massages in
yeah,
Belgrade, because she is the one that hooked this interview up. She was the plug on this one. They told me they'd reach out to you, so she helped me get you. So I'm gonna shout out to her. Actually, she's gonna be on my show towards the end of the month. I finally booked one with her
okay,
to
cool.
make sure
That's dope.
to return the favor. And so it's shout out to Tanya. Appreciate you. And yeah, man, get on up out of here. I am so glad we got to do this, man. I appreciate you coming on and spending your time. I don't take that for granted, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, a lot of fans that were coming through here and saying you were the best. A lot of people that are really happy to see you doing well.
And
And
I'll just say this: if there's any hoopers that's watching this or anything, I don't answer my messages too much. But if you send a message and I happen to see it, I'll get back to you. I'll respond, especially if you're trying to figure out about starting a journey. That's what I'm here for as a OG, as we call it now, OG, a veteran. I'm willing to share knowledge and anything. So feel free, and if I can get to you, I'll get to you. But don't be discouraged if I don't. But I definitely look out for you.
hey, man, you have a great rest of your day. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and giving the great insights that you gave. And then yeah, I'll be in touch anyway. But I wish you luck in the future, man. Whichever way you want to go, if you keep playing or not, I wish you nothing but success, my guy. And if I can ever do anything to help you out in any way, shape, or form, please reach out. Please don't
Sure.
hesitate to reach out. And yeah, man, get on up out of here, and let me say goodbye to the
All
people out
right.
there.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, my guy. So, everyone, once again, a great guest. I'm very fortunate in the fact that my guests have been amazing, and someone who like me is not a trained journalist. So I'm always pleased when people are able to come on and share their stories and hopefully help someone out there. So yeah, that's it for tonight. I wish all of you, wherever you are, nothing but joy, success, and great health. So I will see you next week. No, this week. I have a second one this week. I forgot. So I'll put the promo out tomorrow, maybe. And so I've got another Let's Talk this weekend or this week, Friday, I believe. So keep your eyes out on that. And for those of you that have never been to one of these lives before, I hope you liked it and I hope you returned. And for those of you that have kept coming back, I appreciate you even more. So enough of me talking. Old head out.